तराना खूबचंदानी, एक नाम, एक हौसला, एक जज्बा जो जिंदगी से प्यार करना सिखाता है। ये प्यार और जिंदगी पर विश्वास उन्होंने खुद हासिल किया है और जीती है ब्रेस्ट कैंसर के साथ एक लंबी जंग। क्या गुजरा इस दौरान और कैसे वो इस ट्रॉमा से बाहर आईं? सुनते हैं उनकी कहानी उन्हीं की ज़बानी।
I was 37. I didn't know any survivors. I did not want to scare my parents. My children were little, they were 9 and 12. I certainly didn't want to scare them. My husband and I were in Tata hospital when we got the report. I was speechless, just like I am today, 13 years down the line. Nothing can prepare you for the ominous words of cancer.
तराना ने कभी सोचा भी नहीं था कि उन्हें यह खतरनाक बीमारी निकलेगी, लेकिन सच से इनकार करना बहुत मुश्किल था। टेस्ट रिपोर्ट्स सामने थी। उस वक्त तराना ने वो किया जो सब करते हैं।
I didn't tell my parents, I didn't tell my in-laws, I didn't even tell my children. A very few members of my family, like my brother and both my brothers, my sisters-in-law, they knew. They pitched in, they moved in to stay with my kids, and my husband and I ran away. We went to the US to get treated. I had my surgery fully confident that the lump was small, I would be fine, I would never need chemo. That was one thing that really scared me then. The news was not good. The initial size of the lump was small, but the tumor had spread. It had affected my lymph nodes, and the doctors there told me very clearly, we have to throw the book at you. So I was looking at about 6 months of chemotherapy and many years of medical treatment. I came back to India and decided to take some of my chemo in India. At that time, I realized I had made a big mistake by not sharing this with my parents and with my children, because they became my biggest source of comfort. And I never forget my 9-year-old questioning me, "Mama, why didn't you tell me?" And my 12-year-old rifling through dictionaries to find out the meaning of the word carcinoma. Today when I look back, my children are truly just as much of a survivor as my husband and I are.
फिर शुरू हुआ इलाज का सिलसिला, एक ऐसा दौर जिसने मानसिक तौर पर तराना को बुरी तरह हिलाकर रख दिया। तराना को 2 मोर्चों पर लड़ना था। एक ओर कैंसर की लड़ाई थी, तो दूसरी ओर था डिप्रेशन, डिजेक्शन और एक अनजान सा डर।
And I realized that when the woman of the house suffers, the entire family suffers. And I don't mean to sound like a martyr, but that's a simple fact. If you're not well, who takes care of the kitchen, who takes care of the children, who takes care of your house, who takes care of your husband's social life, who takes care of your business? So it's a catch-22 for a woman. And based on this, we started an NGO which is called Passages, to help women through their emotional hurdles in life. In 2001, we started a helpline, a telephone helpline which addresses queries from women with breast cancer, and now in fact on any kind of cancer. So simple thing, where do I get a wig, what kind of food should I be eating, which doctor can I consult, all of those queries are handled by our breast cancer helpline. After that, I decided to pen my experiences as a survivor and from a medical aspect on breast cancer. So I came up with a little book which could not have been done without the guidance and the mentoring of Dr. Vijay Haribhakti, who's co-authored the book with me. We published 5,000 copies then, and we've gone back into reprint for the next edition. This book is given free to patients, to caregivers all across the world. We felt the need to keep it in different hospitals that have chemotherapy departments, that have got radiotherapy departments, so we do that. So Whispering Hope actually covers all these aspects of breast cancer. It talks about surgery, it talks about chemotherapy, it talks about radiation, it talks about nutritional needs, and it talks about emotional needs. I personally recommend that this book be read by the caregiver and not necessarily by the patient, because we don't want to bombard them with too much information at a time when they have so much to deal with emotionally.
जिंदगी ने एक और चांस दिया तराना को और तराना ने इस चांस को कुछ इस तरह यूटिलाइज किया जिससे दूसरे भी अब सीख रहे हैं जिंदगी से प्यार करना और जिंदगी पर विश्वास करना।
In 2000, I started my NGO. I already had an NGO, but I started the breast cancer wing of my NGO. And for 4 years, I vegetated. I worked a little bit. I spent a lot of time at home. I think I was just reveling in the fact that I was alive. And being a doctor, I think didn't help, because I knew that every year my tests were very, very critical. I was trying to run away from the 5-year limit. When a patient crosses 5 years, we kind of celebrate and extend. When they cross 10 years, we celebrate even more. But really there is absolutely no certainty that the disease will not come back. So for 5 years after 2000, I just vegetated. It was when my daughter was graduating from school and leaving for America that she came and she sat me down one day and she said, "You know what, Mom, I think you need a life." And that's what sort of sparked me back into doing something. I knew that my priorities had changed. I knew that I would always want to do something that would be meaningful and socially relevant. At the very least, it should be personally relevant to me. So I decided to raise money for breast cancer. We have a medicine bank and we needed money to help women for chemotherapy drugs. That's when I started an art business, and I promised myself that every year I would give something back to breast cancer.
ब्रेस्ट कैंसर को करारी मात देकर तराना आज उन तमाम महिलाओं के लिए एक इंस्पिरेशन बन चुकी हैं जो ब्रेस्ट कैंसर से जूझ रही हैं।
You know, as much as I say this, I still feel frustrated at the end of the day. We're just not doing enough. I feel like a prophet of doom because every time I meet friends, I'm like, have you done your mammo? Have you had your checkup? And this is something I wish that would just come more easily to people. I guess the problem is we've not conquered fear. We've not dispelled fear. And the reason I'm sitting here and talking to people on television is I don't like sharing my personal thoughts. But I really feel that if I could have survived it, having been stage 2, everybody can survive it. And the most important thing is a positive attitude. So don't succumb to the fear and you won't succumb to cancer.